So, Albert, does the tenant really pay the bond for the owner?
Yes, it depends on where you are. So in Cape Town, maybe not necessarily. In Joburg, maybe, depending on the strategy again. So I cannot say this enough. So it all depends on the strategy. So if you buy into a sectional scheme, for example, so for those that don't know, a flat, you're buying a flat, you're buying it for 1.4 million. You're not going to return 14,000 rand a month.
You're not going to break even from day one.
No, you're not. So most likely.
Is that a misconception that people have to think, I'm going to buy property, yes. I'm going to buy a flat, I'm going to rent it out, I'm going to make enough money to cover the bond and all the costs, and there we go.
I think if you do get that right in today's market, in Cape Town specifically, it's an anomaly. You're very lucky if you can do that, because remember, with the sectional scheme, there's maybe less maintenance. So you're saving on that because you're paying a levy, and the levy is for the maintenance of the outside of the building, the insurance of the outside of the building, or insurance of the building. But there's other costs involved again. So okay, you're also saving. You don't necessarily need your own private insurance unless you want to insure the inside of the building. So having said that, so you need to factor in your purchase price plus your levy per month. So your tenant may be able to pay the bond or very close to it, cover that cost, but then you have extra expenses like the levy, for example. So that's if you're buying a sectional
scheme. Is that
scheme.
Underestimated in some cases?
What do you mean by that?
Because in terms of buying into a complex, again, use the example buying a flat. Some of these complexes, levies are through the roof, and you end up thinking, oh, it will be about $1,000 or $800, whatever the case. Ending up being $2,500. Yeah.
Correct, and that can escalate.
And we're not talking about special levies and all of that. We'll maybe get to that in a later part, but that's also something to.
I can definitely elaborate on that one.
Yeah.
So remember, that's also something that you don't have direct control over. So you're buying into a scheme. So you're buying into a sectional scheme. So.
And that's, sorry, again for interrupting, that's probably also why a lot of property investors think they don't want to, after buying a few flats or buying a few properties in complexes, they tend to think, you know what, it's not for me. I'll rather buy outside of a complex, because then I'm not entitled to that. I don't have to follow the body corporate rules per se.